Hello, everyone. Welcome back to God of War. Quick, we have time to do row, row, row your boat.
Row your boat gently down the stream.
I can't do a Kratos voice.
That's all I know.
No, I know, like,
I've only
I
ever
know more
owned the
of
demo. I refuse to pay for it.
I know the rest of the song, but I can't picture Kratos saying the word merrily, so it's just not happening.
Angrily.
Angrily. I suppose that syncs up.
Angrily, 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 angrily. I'm about to steam.
I don't know why, but for some reason, I'm just picturing the Joker in Mark Hamill's voice singing that song.
Kinda.
See, I was gonna say Itsy Bitsy Spider, but that was Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin.
Ah, yeah.
Not Joker. Joker-esque, but not Joker.
That, like, fake version of Jingle Bells actually came from the animated series, and I totally forgot about that until last week.
Well, no, no, it didn't.
No, it didn't?
Nope. It's funny because someone did like a deep dive onto where that comes from, and I guess because it's basically just like a joke song some kids made up who were like army kids on like the bases and stuff from like post World War II and all that.
Oh.
So because the army kids spread it around, that's how everyone knows it. But because it was also in a bunch of different places, people came up with their own variations of it. So you can actually find out where someone's from, kind of like general regionally speaking, based on what version they use for that.
Oh. Interesting. See, that I did not know.
Yeah, I like the German cut of Batman Smells.
Well, there's like Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, Robin Lane, Batmobile, Lost the Wheel, and Joker Got Away. That's kind of the most known one.
Yeah.
But another one I knew was Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, Robin Lane, Mr. Freeze cut the cheese, and the Joker took ballet.
That's the one I remember.
I never heard of that one.
I bet the Robin laid an egg line originates from the Jason Todd era. I couldn't tell you why I think that, though.
So yeah, there's a...
I wonder how anybody would know if Freeze would cut the cheese. He's in a suit all the goddamn time.
Well, Mr. Freeze would know. There's nowhere to go but in his helmet.
His helmet just fogs up for no reason.
No, you see, what they actually mean is literally cutting cheese for, like, dinner and
Oh,
stuff.
okay. Just like looking at Nora through the glass jar again while he's like slicing Gouda. He just cries.
It's their anniversary dinner. He has to make it every year. Without fail. Unfortunately, it's a really expensive cheese, so he needs to rob a few banks for it. But, you know, the things we do for the ones we love.
of Gouda. Going to get more, LOL.
You know, what really gets me is that, like, for as good as the animated series take on Mr. Freeze was, Batman and Robin was the only Batman story that took that to its logical conclusion and just had Bruce Wayne fix the thing with his money. And that was a terrible movie, so why was it the only one that got that story right?
No, he didn't fix anything with his money. He obviously he stopped Freeze, and then he said that in prison he can still continue his medical research.
And he paid for it.
Oh, sure. No, but...
Yeah, but he didn't discover
no,
a
but
cure.
in the DCAU they actually killed... They cure Nora.
Yeah.
That was a Sub-Zero movie,
Yeah,
wasn't
the
it?
Sub-Zero. So it's like, no, they actually did do that. But
not until, like, the third or fourth incident with Mr. Freeze. Whereas, you know, you could have done that sooner and avoided a whole lot of trouble.
Well, no, because they didn't do it earlier because what happened was in Sub-Zero was Freeze found the cure, but it needs like a very rare specific blood type that only like 3 people in Gotham have, so that's why he was like going after the 3 people. And that's
he was specifically going after Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, who had that blood type because convenience.
Yeah, but like, it's
And then Batman Beyond kind of ruined Mr. Freeze.
I wouldn't say so. I thought that
Was
was
it,
that episode
what was it?
good.
Batman Beyond?
In Batman Beyond.
No, I actually really liked that episode. Yeah.
Yeah, in Batman Beyond, they just sort of gave him an epilogue. They
had to do something after where the New Adventures of Batman Beyond took Batman Forever.
Batman
the
and Robin.
The New Adventures of Batman.
And
yes.
Robin took him.
The New Adventures of Batman. Batman and Robin was the 3rd season.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, they kind of put Mr. Freeze in an unredeemable situation where his wife had been cured long ago, but he himself, she moved on without him. He himself, he was a hermit for a while, and then
They're like, yeah, we still got to sell Mr. Freeze toys, so he needs to be a villain still.
he fell into a depression, which isn't the most horrible storyline to go with, but he just sort of became a nihilist and tried to completely wreck Gotham for completely unsympathetic reasons.
I wonder if Batman and Robin had something to do with that.
Oh, it was also because at that point they introduced the idea that his body was deteriorating, which is why he was just a head in a jar. Was that in
Batman Beyond?
Was he?
He was a head in a jar by Batman Beyond.
He was a head in a jar in the new Batman Adventures episode 2. That
was no. I thought he at least lost.
He
his
had
legs.
Spider legs.
Yeah, the spider legs.
Yes.
It's weird how both Mr. Freeze and Darth Maul both wound up with spider legs at the end of their tenure.
Yeah, but Darth Maul was at least a torso and arms with spider legs. He had all of his vitals. Darth Maul basically became that guy from Wild Wild West.
It's really weird how a fan favorite villain wound up with spider legs in the future. Oh crap! What was the quote I was trying to do there? If I had a nickel for every time a fan favorite villain got spider legs at the end of their tenure, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
But like the actual Batman Beyond episode that concluded Mr. Freeze, I actually like that story. Where he almost like is able to live a normal life again and tries to put his expertise and experiences into like charity and stuff, but then his body starts to deteriorate again anyway, and Powers, being the ultimate turd goblin, had hired this woman to look after him, so he fell in love with her, thought he could start again, but she was just a heartless crony for the evil guy. And it was actually more of a villainous showdown between Blight and Mr. Freeze than anything. I miss Blight. He just sort of dropped out of the story.
Yeah, Blight needed more screen. Like, I like where the character went, but I do agree he needed more.
I mean,
Batman Beyond.
What sort of happened was that the first season of Batman Beyond had like an ongoing narrative where it was really focused on corporate villainy with Powers as the central bad guy. And it sort of seemed like it was going to continue on that thread at the end of the season. But then in season 2, it became more like Spider-Man and just sort of dropped the corporate element outside of a few standalone stories. I mean, you'd occasionally see Derek Powers make a reappearance, but Blight never showed up again, even though Terry kind of hinted that he might when he taunted Derek at the end of the episode. But then Batman Beyond existed in that odd period where they did seasons, but they didn't really do seasons. So the series just sort of ended. It just sort of stopped.
I mean, syndicated TV show, so...
Yeah, well... Like, they started doing proper finales with Justice League. And the reason they did that is because Batman Beyond just ended on a whimper rather than with a bang. And they didn't want that to happen again. So they made a point to end every season of Justice League and JLU with a big finale event. But Batman Beyond didn't have that. It just had production seasons like the previous shows did. It almost had a finale in season 1. Almost, but it was more of an unintentional finale. I mean, you can sort of make up your own finales with Batman and Batman Beyond by just sticking the movies at the end of each season, but that's about as far as you can
weird
go.
because like Batman Beyond wouldn't get like its epilogue until Justice League.
Yeah.
I think Unlimited or
Unlimited,
the original running.
Oh yeah, Justice League Unlimited season 2 was written as if it would be the last season of the DCAU, which ended up being a little awkward because they got hired on for exactly one more season after that.
Now what?
But like, not only did they give Batman Beyond an epilogue, but they cheekily ended on a shot reminiscent of
The first
scene of the first episode of Batman. Yes, or the first production episode specifically on Leather Wings.
I think it was a nice callback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then then the story just continued for another 13 episodes.
Batman's still flying up there.
It's become
Never landed.
It's become a bit traditional to just skip the epilogue episode until the end of your rewatch of the entire DCAU because it just works so well as an end cap. As weird as that story twist was, boy, was it weird.
Yeah, because like the actual ending of Unlimited was always. It wasn't really an ending. It was very cliffhangery.
Which ending are you talking about?
The actual one. It's one of those things where it's like it's comics, so nothing ever really ends. So it's kind of
it's like the adventure continues.
Yeah, so it's just one of those.
No, I mean, like, are you talking about the end of season 2 or the end of season 3?
the end of Justice League Unlimited, where
Darkseid and Luthor.
Darkseid and Luthor are like
and then they're like, oh, okay, the villains helped out this one time, and they're like, we'll give you a 10-minute head start. They run off, and then they do the hero, going down the Hall of Justice thing.
Yeah, but as far as endings go, I think that episode was fine. It was a little rushed because they didn't have quite enough screen time to do justice to the big.
I was gonna say it needed to be a movie.
Darkseid showdown,
2-parter. Yeah,
they really needed at least one more episode to make that work, but I guess they didn't get it. Which adds that to the list of extremely excellent animated shows with extremely rushed conclusions, alongside Legend of Korra, Castlevania, and what else? There's another one that I have on my mind, but it's not coming to me.
Teen Titans, in a sense.
No, I'm actually thinking of Sonic the Hedgehog Sat-Am, which perplexingly did have a finale. Yeah, way ahead of its time there. But, like, it was a really quick finale.
Wait, did it have a finale? It's been so long since I watched that.
They actually defeat Robotnik, and then they actually tease like the exists Nagas, and then no new season. Sucks to be you.
Yeah, they tease at the end that Snively is going to team up with Nagas, but then they never got another season after that, so... I mean, it would have been interesting to bring Ixis Nagas into the show. Well, they did bring him in for a one-off episode at one point. But... what's the Sonic the Hedgehog version of the Phantom Zone? I know it involved that.
The Null Zone.
That, yes.
I think it was called the Null Zone. Why the fuck do I remember that?
Was it because Nora did her Archie reread last few months?
Maybe. Sort of like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon there. Because she hasn't done anything with that in a while. She's been busy with other things.
Well, I mean...
I have caught up. I finally caught up to it.
I don't blame her. That's a long-ass series. I wouldn't be able to marathon the whole thing in one go either.
I'm just waiting now on the more recent IDW trades. Now I finally took the time to catch up on all the IDW stuff and the side stuff. Pretty good.
If I had some more spending money, I would totally be getting those alongside the Harley Quinn stuff that I'm trying to order.
Yeah, I'm trying to find like a good place to get back into graphic novels and stuff because I stopped reading both the DC, Marvel, and all that kind of stuff for a while. Well, more DC than anything because I don't really read Marvel anyway.
Don't let Ted hear you say that.
No, Ted knows that I don't read Marvel stuff. He knows that I prefer the movies more than anything else. Like, he recommended me the Daredevil stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Some time ago, and I've had those in the backlog for so long.
Well, I think as a collection with the audio drama coming in, I think they're re-releasing a set of Neil Gaiman's Sandman.
Yeah. Netflix Daredevil is such a good show. Like,
I was actually just watching that again, season 3 specifically.
Yeah. But as for Daredevil comics, the only ones that jump to mind are the Man Without Fear miniseries and
Mark
Wade run.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. I always fumble on remembering the names of comic writers and comic artists. 'Cause, like, am I mixing up Frank Miller with this other edgy guy? The only ones that I can ever seem to remember are Palmiotti, Amanda Connor, and Gail Simone, because I follow her on Twitter. But like, if you asked me to tell you who did Leather Jacket Batgirl first, I wouldn't be able to say. Even though I really love that run.
I can step into the realm between realms, and your mind doesn't understand what it's seeing, so it sees nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. I love this bit. It's really funny.
It doesn't seem to work on dragons, though.
Your brother
Oops.
wants to know if you're getting another eat.
The doors are a good addition to this game. I'm glad they're here.
Brock was asking.
What was the idea look behind that? Like dragon sight, was
Yeah.
it? Like they have true vision or something,
Something like
shit.
that. Yeah.
You let him touch this again.
I love this guy. I also love Kratos being impatient. Like, just the most done with the universe guy imaginable. Throws his axe at the wall just to cut off the tangent. Someone should do that to us one of these days.
Well, throw an axe at us?
You step between
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously
Sign up
miss.
for this shit. What the fuck are you talking
Obviously miss on purpose, please. But
about? No, I don't think they would.
Monked it with a hammer.
I actually had the pleasure of tossing some tomahawks earlier, a couple of years ago, and it's pretty fun. Although, man, you feel like an asshole for missing.
Who'd you hit, John?
I'm not legally allowed to say that.
Ah,